An 18-year-old kid took $2,500 of his own savings and bought one vending machine. No business degree, no connections, no storefront, just one machine, one location, and a bet that nobody else was willing to make. 5 years later, at 23, that same kid was running a fleet of 50 machines, pulling in $35,000 a month in gross sales, working 3 days a week out of a 2,300 square foot warehouse he built from scratch. Read that again. 3 days a week, $35,000 a month, and it started with $2,500 and a decision. This is not a fluke. This is not a lottery ticket story. This is a repeatable mathematical playbook that is playing out right now. In cities you have walked through 100 times, inside machines you have probably ignored your entire life. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly how this works. The hardware, the technology, the locations that print money, and the ones that will bankrupt you. The contracts that protect your income, and the ones that will get you evicted from your own business. And the exact regulatory playbook that keeps 90% of people from ever doing this correctly. Let's get into it. Here is the thesis, stated plainly. The vending industry is not what your parents remember. This is not coin slots and stale candy bars behind smudged glass. The global vending machine market was worth $76.44 billion in 2025, and it is climbing toward $105 billion by 2034. That is steady, boring, reliable growth. But inside that number is a smaller, faster-moving story. The intelligent vending machine market, the AI-powered, cashless, camera-driven machines, is growing at 11.6% a year, on track to nearly quadruple by the mid-2030s. That is not boring. That is a land grab. Here's what nobody tells you about this business. It is not passive income. Anyone who tells you vending machines are pure passive income has never run a route. What it actually is a logistics and data business wearing a vending machine costume. You are not selling snacks. You are managing a fleet of internet-connected retail endpoints, reading their data and deploying capital into the ones that perform. That mental shift is the entire unlock. And because you are not leasing a storefront, not carrying a staff, not paying for 8 hours of retail rent when your machine sells product at 2 in the morning with nobody watching, you bypass almost every cost that kills a normal small business. Let's talk proof, because a thesis without receipts is just a theory. Marcus Graham started Joner Vending in 2018 as a side hustle. $4,400, 2 machines. His first year, he made $4,000, barely broke even on the investment. Most people quit right there. He did not. Year 2, $25,000. By 2021, he crossed $300,000. The following year, he was on pace for $500,000 across 21 machines. Here is the part that actually matters, the unit economics, because this is the part people skip past to get to the exciting number. 30% of revenue goes to inventory, 10% to labor, 10% to logistics, fuel, and maintenance. That leaves a 30% net profit margin. Clean, repeatable, and it scales in a straight line as you add machines. Then there is Maya Ray, who runs FYC Vending. She did not have $2,500 sitting around. She used credit, financed her first deployment at $6,000, and let the immediate, predictable cash flow of the machine pay down the debt. That is the move. When your asset generates cash on day one, leverage stops being reckless and starts being strategy. 3 different people, 3 different starting points, same underlying math. Now let's talk about the machines themselves, because this decision determines almost everything downstream. Welcome to the equipment matrix. Tier 1 is traditional mechanical vending. Coils, buttons, a compressor. A brand new snack machine runs $3,000 to $5,000. A refrigerated drink machine, $4,000 to $6,000. You can find refurbished units for $1,200 to $3,000, roughly half the cost of new. But refurbished is a trap for the unprepared. If you buy a $1,500 used machine and the compressor dies, that is a $600 repair. Add a card reader upgrade for $300 more, and your bargain machine just became a full-price machine with used machine reliability. Inspect everything before you buy. The compressor, the bill validator, the motherboard's ability to run modern cashless systems. Skip that step and you are gambling, not investing. Tier 2 is smart, AI-enabled vending, and this is where the real acceleration lives. These machines range from $6,000 to $15,000 and up. They throw out the coil completely and replace it with computer vision, weight sensors, and cloud-connected shelving. You tap your card, the door unlocks, you grab what you want, the door closes, and the cameras figure out what you took and charge you. No button, no stuck product, no friction. A real example on the market right now is a machine called the FV6867, $6,800, roughly 680 liters of capacity, nearly double a traditional unit, running an 8-core processor with real-time image recognition across 4 internal cameras. It tracks what you remove with over 99% accuracy, and it blurs faces automatically to stay compliant with privacy law while it watches the product, not you. Compare the economics side by side. A traditional machine averages about $1,800 a month in revenue, $540 in profit, and takes 8 to 12 months to pay itself back. A smart machine like the FV680 averages $3,000 a month in revenue, $1,200 or more in profit, and pays itself back in 4 to 7 months, almost double the profit in roughly half the payback time. The higher price tag on the smart machine is not a cost. It is a multiplier. Tier 3 is the micro market, and this is the most advanced, most capital-intensive format. $10,000 to $15,000 to deploy. No enclosed machine at all, just open coolers, shelving, and a self-checkout kiosk. Customers spend 33% more here because they can physically browse, read labels, and build a full basket instead of making one quick decision. Average product selection jumps from about 40 items in a vending machine to over 300 in a micro market. Revenue can run 80 to 100% higher than a traditional machine in the same exact location. But here is the catch, and it is a real one. Micro markets run on the honor system. No coils, no locked glass, just trust. A well-run operation keeps theft under 2%. A new operator who has not dialed in security can lose 5 to 8% of revenue to people simply walking out with product. On $4,000 a month, an 8% shrink rate is over $300 vanishing every single month, before you even count spoilage on fresh food, which runs another 10 to 15%. So micro markets are not for every location. They belong in closed-loop environments, corporate offices, manufacturing floors, anywhere with badge access, security cameras, and a workforce of over 150 people who know they are being watched. Put a micro market in a public transit station, and you will lose your shirt. That environment wants a hardened traditional machine, or a smart machine, not an open shelf built on trust. Now the part that actually lets you scale past 10 machines without losing your mind. Technology and vending management systems. Here is the old way. You drive to every machine on a fixed schedule, Tuesday and Friday, whether it needs restocking or not. You are burning fuel and labor visiting machines that are still half full, while a different machine 3 miles away sold out 2 days ago and has been losing you money the entire time. A vending management system kills that inefficiency completely. Real-time sales data streams from every machine straight to the cloud, and the software tells you exactly which locations need a visit today. Operators using this kind of system have cut their daily routes from 10 stops down to 4. That is a 40% reduction in driving, fuel, and labor just from following the data instead of a calendar. Then there is something called pre-kitting. Instead of loading a truck with a random gas at what each machine needs, warehouse staff pack a precise, machine-specific tote before the driver even leaves the building. This alone cuts unsold inventory returning to the warehouse by up to 70%, and it means your driver spends less time at each stop, which means more stops per day, which means more revenue per hour of labor. And the AI layer goes even further. It watches sales velocity and suggests what to stock next. If a mechanical failure causes a bad VEN, you can issue a refund from your phone without driving out to the location. Maintenance alerts flag a failing compressor or a jammed bill validator before it becomes a total loss, cutting emergency service calls by up to 80%. This is the actual unlock that separates someone stuck at 5 machines from someone running 500. It was never about your ability to physically drive to more locations. It is about whether your software tells you which locations actually need you today. Now let's talk about money moving through these machines, because the payment method is not a footnote, it is a lever. Over 63% of newly installed machines globally now support digital wallets and tap to pay. This is not a convenience upgrade. It is a revenue upgrade. Operators see an immediate 30 to 40% increase in gross sales the moment they add a cashless reader, because a card transaction averages $2.24 compared to $1.78 in cash. People spend more when they are not physically watching coins leave their hand. Now here is the part of this research that most people never talk about, and it is one of the most interesting angles in the entire industry. Emerging markets, where digital wallets grew faster than traditional banking ever did. The Philippines is the case study. Over 80% of urban consumers there use e-wallets. Two platforms dominate: GCash, with 94 million users, and Maya, a full financial suite with business banking built in. Between GCash, Maya, and a national unified standard called QRF, merchant fees on a transaction can run as low as 1% compared to over 3% on a traditional credit card swipe. What that means practically is this. In a market where exact change was historically the biggest barrier to automated retail, cashless has completely erased that barrier. And Maya goes a step further, offering operators access to unsecured business loans up to 2 million pesos, funded directly against the cash flow their machines are already generating. Your Vending fleet's own revenue becomes your collateral for the loan that lets you buy your next machine. That is not a side note. That is a blueprint for compounding a fleet in any market where mobile payment adoption is outrunning traditional banking. Now let's talk location, because this decides 70 to 80% of your total revenue, full stop. A $15,000 smart machine in a dead hallway will lose to a $3,000 refurbished unit sitting in a packed transit corridor. Hardware is not the variable that matters most. Foot traffic is. The real metric professionals use is called dwell time. Not how many people walk past your machine, but how long they are captive in front of it with nothing else to do. Corporate offices and call centers are some of the strongest locations that exist. Employees on long shifts need caffeine and food on a predictable clock. These locations typically see 30 to 50 transactions a day, averaging $5 each, which puts monthly profit in the range of $1,800 to $3,000 per smart machine. And in markets running 24-hour operations to match overseas time zones, the night shift alone creates a demand window that a traditional cafeteria can never economically serve. That gap is exactly where your machine lives. Hospitals and universities are next. Continuous operation, staff who do not have time to sit down for a meal, and a rising demand for healthier options. These locations run 35 to 50 transactions daily, around $4 each, and increasingly reward operators who stock fresh, health-forward products instead of the traditional bag of chips. And then there is public transit, which is the highest volume environment that exists, if you can handle it. Take a rail line moving over 200,000 passengers a day, feeding into a hub connecting buses, jeepneys, and park-and-ride commuters. Locations like that can generate 50 to over 100 transactions daily, with monthly profit potential exceeding $3,000 to $6,000 from a single well-placed machine. But transit is anonymous and high traffic, which means theft and vandalism risk is real. This is not micro-market territory. This calls for a hardened, secure machine built to survive being ignored by nobody and messed with by someone. You now understand where the money is. Here's how you make sure you actually keep it. A location without a real contract is not an asset. It is a machine you are borrowing space for, and it can disappear the moment a property manager decides they do not want it there anymore. No warning. Is compensation. You absorb the removal, the storage, and the lost revenue alone. A real vending contract needs 5 things. Exclusivity, so the property cannot bring in a competitor and split your customer base in half. A term length of 3 to 5 years, because that is the real math required to pay off a machine and actually profit from it, with a 60 to 90-day written notice required before any termination, so you are never blindsided. A commission structure, typically 5 to 25% of the property, calculated on net sales, not gross. That single word, net, is the difference between a fair deal and one that quietly forces you to pay commission on money you never even kept, after card fees and taxes are already gone. Guaranteed access for restocking, with the property covering the electricity cost, not you. And a right of first refusal. So if your contract ends and a competitor comes in with an offer, you get the first shot at matching it and keeping the location you built. Walk into these negotiations with the right pitch. You are not asking to place an ugly box in someone's lobby. You are offering a modern employee amenity that keeps people on site, productive, and satisfied, at zero cost to the property. Start with a short trial period if you have to. Let the machine prove itself, then lock in the long-term exclusive deal once the value is undeniable. Last piece, and it is the one most people skip because it is the least exciting. Compliance. This is not a boring footnote. This is your moat. The barrier to buying a machine is almost nothing, which is exactly why the market is flooded with undercapitalized amateurs who buy one unit and quit within a year. The barrier to legally operating a real fleet, registering a business, securing local permits, passing sanitary inspection, meeting fire and electrical code is real work. And that work is precisely what keeps this from being oversaturated by people who are not serious. Skip the permit, and a machine can be seized on the spot, with daily fines stacking up behind it. Skip the sanitary certification on food or beverage units, and you are looking at fines that can run into the millions, plus a shutdown of your entire operation. This is not a reason to avoid the business. It is the exact reason a well-run operator with clean paperwork becomes the obvious, trusted choice for any serious property manager, while the guy with one sketchy machine and no permits gets removed the moment someone complains. So here's the full architecture, laid out one more time. Choose the right hardware for the right environment, not the most expensive machine you can afford. Let software handle your routing and your inventory, so your time scales instead of your hours worked. Go cashless immediately, and look seriously at markets where digital wallets are outpacing traditional banks. Chase dwell time over foot traffic. Lock every location down with a real contract before you ever plug the machine in. Treat compliance as your competitive advantage, not your obstacle. This is not passive income. Nobody who is actually doing this at scale will tell you otherwise. It is an active, data-driven, unapologetically hands-on business. But it is one where an 18-year-old with $2,500 became someone running 50 machines and $35,000 a month in 5 years without a single day of industry experience before he started. The machines are already out there, on the wall of your office, in your hospital lobby, at your train station. Somebody already made the decision to put them there. The only real question left is whether that somebody is going to be you.